All right, this one's for Greg Porter and his strainer dilemma. There's a couple different types of strainer plates. This is a strainer plate with a drain hole in it. This is usually what my high performance motors have on it. Strainer plate with a drain plug, because I do not run strainer plates in high performance motors. I made videos on this before on why, and I won't go into detail of why I don't run a strainer. If you'd like to go over and see why I don't run a strainer, you can look at the Gene Berg website on the oil pump section, and they'll explain why you don't run a strainer in a high performance motor. Strainer will not flow the oil capacity necessary after you change the pump to a high volume pump. So we have a 30 millimeter pump here, which is quite a bit larger than a stock 24 or 26 millimeter pump. The gears are quite bigger. The volume of oil it pumps is quite a bunch more, and this combination of the bigger pump and the added RPM range to the engine, the strainer can no longer flow the oil capacity needed to supply the engine. So therefore we take the strainer out. Now a lot of times what we'll do is, I've never had so much trouble putting an oil pump together one-handed, but what we'll do is we'll put a full flow system on. And what you do when you full flow a bug is you take the pump and you plug this side of the pump, and it directs all the oil out of the cover, out the line into the filter. So that is one way to put a filter on a bug. The other way, which I don't condone or like, is a filter pump, which would be one of these jobbers. And you know, it would go on the pump sort of like this, and sits under the car, and the oil filter's right up against the header there, heating the oil up all the time. So that's why I don't like those. And there's something EMPI shouldn't make for engines, and one of those is an oil pump. So with that being said, that's why I don't run a filter pump. If you get a strainer like this with the hole on the bottom, all you got to do is pop the drain plug out, drain your oil, and change your oil. You don't have to take the 6 strainer nuts off every time. As far as the strainer nut, I think I told you about that nut before I even sent you the motor. You told me you'd be able to handle that no problem. You should just pull that stud out, either put a helicoil in there or a time cert, depending on what you like to use. A time cert is a solid insert, and a helicoil would be the wire type, which is most commonly found at any hardware store. And usually you can buy those in a kit. It'll come with the drill bit, the installing tool, and the little threads. So there you go. Those are that's what it'll look like. Here's a bigger one for demonstration purposes. It's got a little wire on the bottom. Here's the installing tool. Here's the tap. And it's very common that you put those in as the aluminum gets fatigued. You know, it can happen. I didn't catch yours till right at the end there, and you said you'd be able to fix that no problem. So I didn't really think about it causing you a problem. So hopefully you can fix that. Here's the ones you need, 6 millimeter. I think it's they make a step up stud also that's 8 on the bottom, 6 coming out. So there's a wide variety of things to fix that. Should be able to handle that no problem. Shouldn't be an issue. As far as hurting your motor from no filter, that's not an issue. The filter doesn't strain much anyway. If you look at the size of the screen, it's pretty large. So anything that wants to pass through that, the damaged bearing is going to pass through it. All that really catches is big stuff. You know, wrist pin keepers, stuff like that you'll find in the screens every once in a while. But in a high performance motor, you'll take those screens out and you'll see them all sucked down, where the actual pickup tube sucks to the bottom of the screen and collapses it. So that's why I don't run the screens in my motors. If it's a bone stocker, I'll run a screen in it. You know, if somebody's not going to turn the RPM that you're going to turn with that motor, anything over 4,000 RPM, they recommend taking the screen out. So that's why the screen's not in there. You know, if you'd like to go look at Berg's site, there's some better information, better explanations, of course, more detailed, more, you know, eloquently put. But I don't run them, plain and simple. So that's why you didn't find the strainer in your motor. There's not one in my motor. And this motor, when I freshened this motor up last time, it had about 90,000 miles on it with no internal damage. We pulled it all apart ourselves, and everybody pulled it apart with me. We ended up putting piston cylinders on this, valve job in the heads, and a set of bearings, and used the original crank, original rods, original oil pump. Everything's the same except bearings, and just basic freshen up on this one. So, and there was no signs of any oil contamination. So your oil will be dirty on the first change. 500 miles is about the normal interval for the first oil change. So you should be fine. As far as oil type, I like to use a flat tappet cam oil. Valvoline makes a VR racing oil with a zinc additive in it. That's good. That's what your motor had in it. It's about $5 a quart. I don't have any here. I've seen other people that run Rotella. Rotella supposedly has a pressure additive in it. The only problem with running Rotella motor oil in a gas-operated vehicle is Rotella is made for low RPMs and tends to foam when you extend the RPM range. It's made for a diesel motor, low RPM operation. So that's the only problem with the Rotella oil. I try to stay away from it because if you're turning excessive RPMs, it can cause foaming issues in the oil, and you can get air in your pickup, and that's why I don't run the Rotella. So low RPM situation for a diesel, I love Rotella, but for a high RPM Volkswagen motor, it's probably not the best suited thing, other than it has a pressure additive for the flat tappet camshafts. They do make a zinc additive you can put in oil. Melling makes it, a couple different cam companies. You can buy Comp Cam, sell special oil. I know Summit has oil for flat tappet motors if you're having a hard time finding it in your area. But you should be able to find the oil that you need pretty easy. Anything that says for flat tappet cams. The only oil that says actually flat tappet cams are on the front of the bottle that I know of is the Valvoline, so you might want to look for that. But that's about it. That's why there's a strainer in the motor. That's the oil you should run. And that's about how to fix the stud issue. Hopefully you'll be able to figure that out. And it won't be an issue. So, see how it goes. I got a motor for the bus yesterday. So maybe Derek will come by today. Said he's gonna come by and pull that apart. See if he comes by, throw a video up. Got Shane helping out, so Shane will give me a hand with that, get that torn down, see where we're at. Got a bunch of cylinder heads. And this engine and the engine that's in the bus, and we should be able to make a motor. Of course, we'll have to buy the bearings and the internal parts, but we got a good start here. So that's where we're at on the bus. We did move it around to the other side, make room for the barbecue grill. But other than that, that's what we're doing. I don't know if you can see the grill there. But hope everybody's having a safe trip if you're coming down. And if you're stuck at home, we'll make some videos for you.